debate about government-issued IDs. I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me this hour is Pennsylvania State Representative Babette Josephs. Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You recently held hearings related to government-issued IDs. Talk to us a little bit about why these hearings were held and what an expansion of the need for an ID would mean for some of your constituents.
The hearing was held because there was a bill which required, before you got any public benefit, you would have to prove with some sort of government identification that you were a citizen. Now, before I get into why I don't think that's a very wise bill, let me say I am not for people being here illegal. If they are here illegally, they should be deported. I am not for people who are not eligible for public benefits getting public benefits. That should be and is against the law. But I think that the kind of bill that makes you show before you get any public benefit, makes you prove that you are a citizen, is very counterproductive, and it's very expensive, and it doesn't solve the problem.
So in terms of how this could potentially impact people, what kind of benefits are we talking about? Who would need to show an identification?
Well, the bill doesn't make that clear, but putting that aside, let's talk about a woman who, and usually this is a woman, who is running out of her house to escape domestic violence. She has no jacket on, even though it's winter. She doesn't have shoes on her feet. She needs services right away. She needs shelter, she needs food, she needs money, she might need medical attention, she might need daycare for her children. She has no papers. There's no way she can prove right away that she's a citizen, but I'm telling you, people who are here illegally do not apply for those benefits because they're afraid they're going to get caught. What's been happening in Pennsylvania is an attempt to do in Pennsylvania what's happening in Arizona, where the local police are now empowered to walk up to people or the local welfare officials and say, "You don't look like you belong here." That's not what a state does. Immigration is not for the states to enforce, and that's what this is really about. This is for the federal government.
So in the instance you mentioned, that's one instance of this, but are there already mechanisms in place to determine citizenship? Because I'm thinking of other examples that aren't as dire a circumstance as someone fleeing a domestic violence situation, but are there other mechanisms that people could check to make sure that people are actually getting the benefits they deserve?
Yes, there are, and there are computerized lists of Social Security, for instance. Here's another situation. It's dire, but it doesn't have quite the same time constraints. People who live in Rittenhouse Square, my constituents, some very elderly widows, cannot move because, you know, old people can't move and live sometimes. They're hungry. They can't afford to buy food, heat their places, and live on Rittenhouse Square. We can set them up with a card that looks like anybody's charge card so that they can get food in the supermarket and they won't be hungry. They will be hungry before they go to a county assistance office to show a document because their shame for being poor outweighs their need for food. And we can check whether they're citizens. We know because they're already on the Social Security rolls.
And we just have a short time left, but where does this legislation stand at this point?
This legislation is now in my committee. Reason why we had a hearing is because I don't want to let it out.
All right, thank you very much. We've been talking with Pennsylvania State Representative Babette Josephs. I'm Jill Horner for Comcast Newsmakers.